Good evening, and welcome to another edition of Kingsborough Focus. This is Dr. Oliver Clapper, professor in the Department of Behavioral Science here at Kingsborough Community College. And I know that you're going to enjoy this evening's show because it's about the most positive approach toward our students at Kingsborough, especially in the area of empowering the black student in the multicultural classroom. Sounds a little complicated, but by the end of this show, I think you'll be excited that something like this is going on in your community college, the only community college in Brooklyn. And I have with me the very best people to tell you all about it. I have Professor Elizabeth Dill, professor in the Department of English, and we have Rod Wilson, who is the director of the Liberty Partnership program here at Kingsborough. We have Fahim Bey Ali, who is a student, the most important member of the panel, by the way, by far, and also, backed by popular demand, Professor Jack Taub, who is also a professor in the English department and very much involved in all of this, but I won't call him the father of this program because he doesn't like that. But I'd like to ask all of our panelists to give just an introduction. Tell us a little about yourselves, where did you grow up, go to school, and how you ended up being involved in this program.
Well, I grew up in upstate New York, not so far from here, but it feels pretty far from here. I taught at a bunch of different places before I finally made my way to Kingsborough, attending a women's college along the way.
Well, glad you're here. Boy,
yeah, right? Yeah. Finally made it. My office is right next door to Jack Taub's, so I really think that's the first reason I got involved with this work, luck.
He forced you against your will.
Yeah, a little bit. But I started hearing students lingering outside his office, heard what he was talking about race in the classroom, and he was sort of the only one up at the microphone talking about some important issues, and that's how I came to.
You had a feeling something important was going on, and let me get involved in this.
Exactly.
Rod?
I was a student at a historically black college down in Tennessee, Knoxville College, and that provided me with an opportunity to see how important it is to be prepared for college and in college. Once I graduated from there, a few years passed by, I began working in the educational field as a guidance counselor as well as employment counselor for youth. And I did attend Brooklyn College, and there I saw that there was a great difference between the students at Brooklyn College versus the students that were in Tennessee. And much of that had to do with preparedness. Now I'm working with high school students in the South Brooklyn area at a number of the schools, and I see even more so the need to assist the high school students of color, particularly those black male students and other black students who may not have the same opportunities and advantages as their counterparts. And for that reason, I became very much involved. Since the Black Male Initiative was created here in the CUNY system, I've been involved, and I'm happy to be here today.
And we are, Liberty Partnership is truly a successful program. How many years are you doing this?
I've been doing it for 10 years.
10 years.
This is my 11th year.
And this has continued to be renewed by the state legislature, something that's difficult for them to do these days. And we hope more power to you.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Fahim?
Okay, well, I've been a student of Professor Taub. I did the English 12, 24, and also the English 55 with the professor.
Now the first two are required courses of all students at Cambridge to get a degree.
Yeah.
So you did that with Professor Taub.
Yes,
and you survived the course.
Well, basically, I think I did better than survive. That's why I'm here today, because basically what I've experienced in the classroom was absolutely phenomenal. And I did have an opportunity as an adult, because most of the other students in the college are a lot younger than myself. having the student experience, but also having an opportunity to observe, you know, the whole classroom and everything that was going on within it. You know, I was able to see, you know, some changes in myself. You know, I benefited quite a bit from being in the classroom, but I've also noticed a lot of changes also taking place in the classroom. And as a result of which I've decided to get on board and become involved and actually, you know, work with this, because I see there would be tremendous benefit for students who are in such an environment like Kingsborough.
We are definitely going to be coming back to you. We need to hear what you have to say, what that experience was like, what we're talking about in terms of the nature of the teaching. And here is the professor. You're a newcomer to Kingsborough?
Only since 1969,
Oh,
Dr.
okay.
A veteran.
Tell us a little about yourself. You
Well,
go to school?
Did I go to
Did
school?
you go to school?
Grudgingly. I would rather be outside playing ball. But I did go. And I grew up in Paterson, New Jersey. But I think what I'd like to say here at the outset is that when I was teaching at the Kilmer Job Corps Center, after the Job Corps was first established by President Johnson, after Kennedy was assassinated.
The war on poverty.
The war on poverty. And I lived not far from Kilmer, and I was able to get involved. And we could spend all day telling stories about the magnificent things that occurred there. But basically, I'll say that I returned one day from lunch and saw some of the young guys out in front of the barracks. A commotion. I thought maybe they were going to fight. They were arguing about what Malcolm X was saying in his autobiography, which had just been published. And I was really very moved because we used the California reading test back in those days, and these young men were assumed to be almost illiterate and even incorrigible, people would say, uneducable and incorrigible. And so we wound up bringing the book into the classroom using it as a text. We read Claude Brown's Man-Child in the Promised Land. We got Claude Brown to come and visit with us. He invited us to his apartment in Newark. And these things matter. Rod can talk, I think, about the effect of certain things that go on outside the classroom in terms of mentoring and so forth. These are really important. But so we had that kind of support. And to make a long story short, once they began to be confident in their ability to read and write, because we were dealing with their experience. Then I brought in Hamlet and other things of that nature. And the ultimate goal was then, as it is now, to truly educate people.
You were already on a roll, reading the works earlier on that really grabbed them, and now Hamlet, which would one day also have the same impact.
Well, it did. I mean, it's not that it was a smooth transition, because obviously they were more comfortable with things that came directly from their experience. But I was able to use that to interest them and to help them develop the confidence in their ability. And of course, what was most dramatic, even beyond that first day, was the day that they came to me, a bunch of them, and wanted to know, could we possibly get